I wanted to develop a program that dealt with the 1 to 10% of individuals who need a different or more alternative approach to mental health. And so my idea was to partner abused and neglected animals with abused and neglected people that have been through serious trauma. Our counseling program was born in 2010. And when I started this, everybody told me that I had to have healthy animals in order to do this, and I just couldn't believe it. I put together a program partnering abused and neglected animals with abused and neglected people. We wanted to specialize in kids because I couldn't process what happened to me at 17, being raped at 17, and then all of the things that happened to me as a result of that trauma. And so I wanted to focus on kids because I couldn't imagine a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old having to experience what I went through and not being able to process it. And so the counseling program was born.
One of the main things that is just so important to me about the work that we do is the relationships that we form. And the heart of a relationship is safety and trust, which is based on promises kept. And I am immensely honored to be able to serve in the capacity of executive director as an opportunity to implement the mission and vision of Bob Williams, who is a man who has always kept his promises to me and someone that I trust completely. But he also keeps a vision for the future that we can all follow and implement in a way that takes care of the most vulnerable members of our community. And to me, there's nothing more important, there's nothing more valuable, and there's nothing more worthwhile than caring for those who have lost the ability to care for themselves. And that's why I'm here tonight, that's why I do what I do, and that's why I'm honored to stand beside Bob Williams.
I opened a sanctuary for special needs animals because there wasn't one. I started a counseling program for the 1 to 10% of individuals that needed a different or more alternative approach to mental health because there wasn't one. And then when I realized that there was not one safe house in the country for young men who have been sex trafficked, I couldn't comprehend it. As a matter of fact, the question that I said is, well, what happens to them? I realized through all my research working with the Center for Missing and Exploited Kids and going through all this data that in Texas there's less than 65 beds for adult male survivors, and yet they're just beds. See, they can get them to a place to sleep overnight, but how do they help them? These young men need to be safe and they need to be rescued. And so I committed then, and this was 4 years ago, that we would open the first ever safe house in the country for young men 18 and up that have been sex trafficked. And on June 1st of 2021, we fulfilled that promise. We opened the first safe house. And within the first week, we were full.
I was trafficked at the age of 12. My dad took me to a concert and he left me there. Little did I know my dad sold me to a trafficker. I was on the streets, I was using drugs, I was drinking alcohol, I was not okay. I overdosed for my 3rd time on January. I had nobody.
I started seeking help when I turned 18. I was in and out of hospitals, rehab 40 to 50 times. I've been in a treatment facility, and I went back to the streets, back to drugs, back to whatever I could do to live. Homelessness, sleeping in a tent.
Family ended up putting me back into the CPS system, so I went back into the CPS system. After I aged out, they took me to the the Salvation Army for me for my 18th birthday and went homeless. Drug use started for me at 7 years old. I was taken advantage of at 7 years old, so it kind of messed my mind up. As I grew a little bit older, around 10 years old, I started experimenting with K2 and stuff like that.
I was suicidal and I just wanted to die.
As uncomfortable as it is, I'd like to take a minute to share with you what keeps me up at night. And the tragedy of all of this is what these young men go through. You know, being sold to 6 to 8 people a day, being tortured, being tattooed and branded. You know, every one of these boys are branded because they're traffickers. That's their property, all right? It's actual human slavery. And the things that they're forced to do and that they're made to do are unthinkable. And all of us that are here tonight can't really comprehend it. But our team deals with it on a daily basis. We have over 30 people that we're working with, young men around the country right now. And there's hundreds that need our help.
When I was homeless, I felt very afraid, very unstable, unanswered to questions. When I was being trafficked, I felt very embarrassed, very unworthy, and very scared to know what was going to happen next. I felt that my life was just unraveling beneath me, and I didn't know what could happen next. As early, when I was younger, I was groomed, physically abused, touched, and emotionally disturbed, as my father was very aggressive towards me, and that went on for a certain amount of years.
I want to take a minute to explain what happens when a male victim of sex trafficking first comes into Bob's House of Hope. The very first thing we do is establish a connection with the young man, and we do that by having Bob meet with them personally. He goes through his entire story with them so that they know they're not alone, and they know that somebody genuinely sees and hears them as a person, not just as a number, not just as a diagnosis, but as a person. And when that happens, there's a spark. There's a moment where they connect and they know I'm not alone anymore. And when that happens, we have an opportunity, we have an opening in their heart to start providing the care that they desperately need for total recovery. And so what we do after that moment happens is we connect them to medical care, dental, legal, psychiatric, testing and assessment, medication, mental health, literally everything that a person needs, body, mind, and spirit, in order to start over and to build a new life, one that's founded in dignity and respect, which is what they deserve, which is what everybody deserves. The way that starts is by meeting with somebody who gets it. And Bob Williams is a man who gets it.
So, living at Bob's House of Hope has really impacted my life. Not just because it helped me get off the streets, but because it helped me find myself. I got to learn how beautiful life can be, and sober too. And I have real confidence now that I can get there and I can do great things. That's what Bob's House of Hope is. It's that place that I came to with nothing and ended up just bringing life back into my soul.
I just want to take a moment and I want to thank each one of you for being here tonight. I'm so humbled by your kindness. You know, together we can do great things. Together we're bringing education and awareness to this horrific issue for these unseen survivors, these innocent victims, these boys that have been sex trafficked. And I wished I could share with you every story. And I wished I could let you know just how much your dollars help. You're going to impact people, all right? And you're going to help people. And I want you to know that. Thank you so much for your support. May God bless you. May God bless your family. Thank you.